Hi, and welcome to the Low Content Publishing for Beginners video series. My name is Rachel Harrison Sund. So today I'm going to be talking about a question that I get asked frequently, which is, what do I do if my low content books aren't selling? So this is obviously a very discouraging place to be. You might have came into this business model really excited and gung-ho, and you might have published your first book or your first 2 or 3 books, and the publication of those books was perhaps met with crickets, which is not a fun place to be. So if that happens, and by the way, this has happened to all of us, like I've mentioned many times before, like probably literally half of my books didn't sell a single copy. So you are not alone, and there are things you can do to fix this. So I'm just going to go over the questions that you can ask yourself if you're having problems making sales on several of your books or one book or whatever it is. And this will just kind of help you determine what the problem is so that you can either fix it or keep it in mind for future books that you publish. So the first thing that you want to ask yourself is, have I actually given my book enough time to sell? So sometimes you might publish a book and it might not actually sell for the first 1 or 2 weeks, or maybe even longer. I think I mentioned this in another video, but I recently experimented with a new niche, and it took several weeks before I had even one sale. And over the last few months, it hasn't sold particularly well, but it did start bringing in a few sales a month. And so that really does add up when it's combined with all of your other books. But it did take a few weeks for me to even make that one sale. And I was sitting there going like, what's going on? Because, normally my niche research stage is pretty thorough, and at this point, a couple of years in, I'm pretty good at knowing what's going to sell and what isn't. So that was what's going on here? But sometimes you just need to give it a little bit longer. So if you haven't made any sales and it's only been a few days or even a week or even 1 week or 2 weeks, that doesn't mean it's not going to sell. Sometimes you do just need to wait a little bit longer. The second and probably the most important question to ask yourself is, did I validate this idea properly? So this is probably the biggest mistake that I see people making, is that they just have this cool idea for this book that they want to create, and they treat it almost more like a hobby. It's just it's a creative expression that they want to create here, and that's totally fine. But if you're looking at this as a business, which if you're following my stuff, then you probably are, then in order to make sales, you do actually have to put in that research first. So this might be a time to revisit that niche research stage and try and validate your idea again. So you can check out the second video in this series. I think it's the second video that talks about idea validation and how to conduct that process. And make sure you've taken all of those necessary steps first, because that could be your problem. The third thing is to look at your keywords and categories and determine if you are in fact using relevant keywords and categories. So again, you can go back to my keyword research tips video, and I talk about it as well in the idea validation video, how to conduct that keyword research properly so that you can get a string of highly relevant, low competition keywords, because that is what's really going to bring your book visibility in the store. So you've got to get that right, and it will take a little bit of time to get into that, to kind of build skills in that area, and that's okay. But it's definitely something that is very important in making sales for your book, because that is what gets the eyeballs on it. So that is something that you should take another look at if you're not sure that you've done that correctly. And you can go in at any point to any of your books and you can fill out the keywords differently. So if you think for a second that it might be something to do with your keywords, you can easily go in after you've redone your keyword research and you can try a completely different new string of keywords and see if that helps. I remember doing this for several of my books. This is when I was doing nonfiction books, but I learned some different techniques for keyword research, and when I went in and applied that to older books that I had published, I saw my sales dramatically increase, and I was I'm just completely blown away by it, at just how powerful those keywords really are. So that is probably one of the main things that you need to keep in mind. And again, categories, choose categories that are relevant to your book. So make sure it belongs in the category that you've chosen. And again, you can go in and shift those categories around. If you think you want to try out a different one, then you can do that and see if it helps. The next thing to look at and ask yourself, is my description compelling? Is it descriptive? Is it free from spelling and grammatical errors? And is it formatted nicely? So the best thing you can do is to just, if this isn't a forte of yours, hand it over to a friend or a family member that you think might be willing to give you honest feedback, and just say, hey, what do you think of this? So you don't want to use, like a novel length description, but you want to have more than just one sentence in there, because that just doesn't look very professional. You really want to, go onto Amazon, and when you're shopping around, take a look at some of the descriptions when you're shopping for other items, and just take note of like what works and what's catching your eye and what isn't, and what looks professional and what doesn't. If you've got special features into your book, like maybe there's some inspirational quotes, or you've added a section for this or for that, then write those down under features. So what I like to do is I give kind of a brief summary of what the product is, and then I will list I'll put like features or details or something like that, and I'll give off like 5 or 6 different bullet points of features that they will find in my book when they order it. So do something like that. The other thing is make sure that you don't have any spelling or grammatical errors. So I see this all the time. And I know a lot of you do not have English as a first language, and that's totally fine, but it is important that you get someone who is, to just take a look at that and help you out, because it is important to have all of your words spelled correctly and for the sentence structure to make sense. So just get a little bit of help from someone, that's totally fine. Again, if you're using HTML, make sure you're not doing something that looks not very good to the eye. Just make sure it looks like it belongs in the website. HTML is a great way to have your description stand out. You can bolden words, you can italicize them, that's great. But just make sure you're doing it in moderation. You don't want things to kind of stand up and look really awkward or unpleasing to the eye, so make sure that looks good too. Another question you can ask yourself is, does the quality of your cover and interior match or exceed the quality of the books that you are in direct competition with? So, if you've chosen a niche that's pretty competitive and there's some really amazing looking books, you do have to at least match that quality, or, preferably exceed that quality. You always want to be looking at ways that you can make something that's better than the competition, so that you can stand out. So, if some of the other competitors in that niche are putting together these really great looking books, and then you just pump out a dozen, poor quality books with covers that don't really look very good, then you're probably not going to stand a chance in that niche against those other books that have had so much more effort put into their appearance. So that is another thing that you can take a look at. And again, if you want some feedback, just ask someone that you trust, a friend or a family member, and just say, hey, what do you think about this? I think, for the most part, most of you aren't professional designers, and that's totally fine. You definitely do not need to be a professional designer to produce a good-looking cover. But, you do need to have a good eye and have a general sense of what looks good and what doesn't. So that's definitely something to keep in mind, and it could be a reason why you're not making any sales. So take another good look at your cover and your interior, just from an aesthetic standpoint. Does it look good? The last thing that you can look at and kind of ask yourself is my book priced competitively? So is your book priced higher than your competitors? Is it lower than your competitors? So in general, you kind of want it to be similar to what all of the other competitors are doing. It doesn't have to be the same. But you know, if all of the books in that category are priced at $8 and you price yours at 16, you know, it better be, the quality of that book better reflect the price. You know, it really better be worth it. If not, then obviously nobody's going to buy that. Similarly, if all the books are $8.99 and you price yours at $3.99, you know, you might think that you're undercutting all of the other prices and that might be appealing, but for a lot of people, there's actually perceived value with a higher price. So, you know, for example, I feel pretty confident pricing my books $1 or $2 higher than most of the other books in my category because I'm confident in the quality, and I know that there is that perceived quality attached to the higher price point as well. So a lot of people take the opposite standpoint. They will price theirs maybe $1 or $2 below everyone else's because, you know, they essentially are just trying to undercut everyone else. And I mean, there are definitely bargain hunters out there. So, you know, you can kind of decide what works for you, but I think the main thing is just to make sure that there's not a huge discrepancy between the bulk of what's out there and the price point that you are choosing. You don't want it to come across as being super cheap, because people will perceive it that way and might think it's very low quality, even though at the end of the day, all of these books are being printed in the exact same facility. They don't know that, right? So just, you know, keep it within the ballpark. If you want to put it a few dollars higher or lower, that's fine, but just make sure there's not a huge gap between the prices. So some things to keep in mind here, just as we're talking about all of this, is, you know, you're not going to sell a copy of every single book that you publish. In fact, there are going to be many books that you publish, most likely, that either won't sell at all or they're only going to sell a few copies here and there. And when I say a few copies here and there, I mean like maybe 1 or 2 a month. And that's totally okay. That doesn't mean that that book is a failure. Trust me when I say it all adds up. I've had a few books that have been kind of runaway successes. At any given point, you know, I might have one book that's earning me several thousand a month, and that might be half of my earnings, but the other half is made up of all my books that are only selling 1 or 2 copies a month. So it doesn't seem like much taken in isolation. You know, if I'm making a $2 royalty off of one book and that's all I'm earning in 1 month, that doesn't sound very good. But when you pair that up with, you know, 50 or 100 other books all doing that as well, that adds up very quickly, and then that soon becomes half of your income, or possibly even more. So that's totally okay. Definitely keep in mind the 80-20 principle, because that definitely applies here in this business model as well. And the 80-20 principle dictates that 80% of your results are going to come from 20% of your actions. So that's true with the books. 20% of my books account for 80% of my royalties. So you are probably going to see something similar. So if you've got a string of books that don't sell very well, that's totally fine. That's completely to be expected. The other thing is, you know, sometimes despite your best efforts, you might have gone down this entire list of questions or statements that I have just made, and your book still doesn't sell. And that's okay. That's going to happen as well. Like I said, I've got plenty of books that haven't sold a single copy. That's totally fine. The important thing is to just keep moving on, keep experimenting, and keep trying keep trying different things until something works. So anyways, that's all I've got for you today, and I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did like this video and you're finding these videos useful, then make sure to subscribe below so that you can keep getting notified when I come up with new videos. And if you would like more low content publishing tips, then be sure to check out my website at rachelharrisonson.com, and I will leave a link to that below. And you can also download my 3 steps to publishing your first low content book in less than a day, and I will again leave a link to that below. So thanks a lot, guys. Have a great day. Bye.